Lewis's teacher continued to talk about how our sins keep us from a relationship with God. Sin is when we disobey God, the teacher continued. We can't get to heaven on our own. Our disobedience doesn't allow us to get anywhere close to God. The Bible tells us in Romans 3:23 that everyone has sinned. We all fall short of God's glorious standard. Have you ever done something that you knew was wrong, but you did it anyway? The teacher asked the group. Lewis slowly nodded his head in agreement. Her question made Lewis begin to think about what had happened just the other day while at home. Lewis knew his mom would be upset with him for watching Attack of the Wolves, but he really wanted to see it. Some of his friends were allowed to watch it, but for reasons he did not care to understand, Lewis's mom would not allow him to watch that TV series. He knew his mom said it wasn't appropriate or good for him to be watching that kind of violence. She had explained that it could affect the way he thought about people, and maybe even cause him to accidentally act out like the characters in the show. But Lewis didn't want to hear any of that. Lewis decided that he would wait until his mom was in a different room, and then carefully and quietly turn on the television to watch Attack of the Wolves, and that's exactly what he did. Tiptoeing to the couch, where he found the remote control, Lewis turned on the television and became completely wrapped up in the show. Watching with wide eyes and a smirk on his face, Lewis pushed aside any feelings of guilt. He was too wrapped up in the show to think about anything else. But after a few minutes, the episode ended, and Lewis quietly turned off the TV as an awful feeling started to rise up inside him. It was a feeling of panic and shame. Lewis started to feel guilty over doing something he knew he wasn't supposed to do. Even though his mom didn't catch him in the act, Lewis knew that he had disobeyed. He felt terrible. As Lewis continued to listen to his teacher, he realized that this must be what the teacher meant as she talked about falling short. In that moment, Lewis was experiencing a feeling he had never felt before. It was hard to explain, but he knew he had to make things right. He knew he wasn't able to do things on his own and wanted to find out more about this Jesus that his teacher was talking about. Could Jesus help fix this feeling? Could Jesus help to change his heart? Not only did he not want to feel this way anymore, but Lewis was starting to realize he needed to make things right in his heart. Just as he knew this was much bigger than watching a show on TV, he was realizing how he had treated his sister was about much more than his prized derby car.